Yeah, so welcome back. This is yoga and strength conditioning time. So we're going to start by sitting on the foam roller, which I have right here. This is my Darth Vader foam roller. I call it that sometimes because it's kind of the ferocious form of a foam roller. It's the most firm one that we have. So when you take a seat on the roller, let's begin with the sitting bones on either side of the roller, and that you could easily move it under your hips like that. And then go ahead and close your eyes. Let your attention come into your body and your breath. And know that anytime you dedicate yourself to mindfulness and you're adding in myofascial release and strength conditioning, anytime that you do this, it's valuable input to your body and your mind and your life. And it's also at this very time you're not, in addition, doing something that would be detrimental or like over scrolling or over emailing or overworking. So here we are, taking out one thing and infusing ourselves with another. So breathe that in. Breathe in this choice making that you've already done. And then begin to move the foam roller slightly side to side. You're going to move yourself over it. So you're going to start feeling your seat, the actual sitting bones there, called ischial tuberosities. As you're rolling side to side, you might have some places that feel more tender, some that feel more neutral. Maybe some places will actually feel good, like when a massage has a certain sensation. Roll to your side another time. And then come back to center and let's rock the pelvis forward. That's called an anterior tilt. And then roll the pelvis back, and that's called a posterior tilt. And when you're kneeling like this, you're likely to feel that posterior tilt at the tailbone and the base of the sacrum. And then roll forward, you're going to feel that on the front of the sitting bones. However far forward your pelvis allows you to roll. And for some of us, sitting on the roller and on the ground is, of course, too close to the ground for the knees. So a reminder that you can always take a couple blankets and put them under the roller to make it taller so the knees don't have to bend quite so much. Of course, you wouldn't likely roll side to side with that because you could go off the blanket. But it does help you to come down to a kneeling position on the roller like this. And so this is like one of our common warm-up poses. Let's now put the right foot and knee up. So you've added flexion for the right hip, roll forward. And then rolling back. And you can even hold on to your shin and roll back a little bit farther perhaps. And then roll forward and go ahead and pull up with the chest and the heart. And as you're rolling, I recommend an attitude of appreciation towards whatever the sensations are that happen to be there. Appreciation for the fact that your body's giving you the information in the form of sensation. So roll forward again. And let's put the right foot and shin back down. Bring the left one up. And again, roll forward and roll back. So this is like a massage for the sacrum, the tailbone, the muscle insertions along those areas, also the ischial tuberosities. So you can think of it as, yes, influencing the pelvic floor. And so another reason to have an attitude of appreciation for what you are experiencing. Let's roll forward one more time. And then bring the right foot up. So both feet are up and position yourself on the roller such that if you were to take the legs to Baddha Konasana, you would not feel like you're going to fall off the front of the roller. Now, in some people's cases, when you sit like this, When you come to Baddha Konasana, you feel like, oh my goodness, right? Am I going to be able to balance? That's what the blocks can be used for. You could put them on either side of the roller. If you feel concerned about the distance you are from the floor, you could put blocks under your hands. And let's roll side to side. So when you go down to one side, maybe that knee touches. And down to the other side, the knee might touch. And as we're going side to side, think of it as like, how smoothly can you do it? With what smoothness can you make the transitions? And there is a transition point where no hands are touching, and then one hand is touching. So if you need to, you can slow that down and pay extra attention to the transition right there. How do you go side to side? There you go. And then let's see if we could balance. And at first it might have seemed like that you couldn't balance, but after a little bit of rolling side to side, you might have some semblance of balance. Okay, let's reach the arms forward. Clasp the hands. And then keeping your balance, reach the arms upwards. Notice what it takes to keep your balance and allow for the wobbles and the bobbles that are a part of finding your way. One thing that we might observe in ourselves is if we always fall to the same side. And then reach forward again slowly. So coming forward, there's going to be a little stretch for the hips and a different experience of your balance. And then arms down, and we're going to roll back. So let's place the feet now so they're hip distance apart. Reach the arms forward and roll slightly back to the middle of the sacrum. And then roll forward and up. And roll halfway down on the sacrum. And forward and up. Now let's do this with the exhale to roll back. And the inhale to roll forward and up. Exhale. And inhale. And twice more. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, roll forward and up. And then let's take the arms out to the side. Please cross your ankles and take a seat like you're meditating. Notice even just a few minutes of moving, sensing, breathing, what's happened for your mind and your body here. Lean back and change the ankle to put the other one in front. And again, check your meditation feeling. Okay, now let's take the roller and use the full length of the roller. To give you a view of that, I'm going to turn myself sideways. So if your roller is not down the length of your mat right now, you can place it to be that way. So this is called lengthwise with the roller. And take a seat on the front edge of the roller, knees and feet on the floor. So now as we inhale, we're going to reach forward and up like we were just doing. And then exhale and roll down slowly. We're going to roll all the way down. You can lightly put the fingers on the floor. And then make a snow angel of the arms. Try keeping the lumbar spine down against the roller. And then exhale the snow angel. Touch the floor lightly, curl your head up, roll up and forward. So breathe in, exhale, roll down. At the place you need your fingertips, go ahead and lightly touch the floor, like training wheels. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, bring the arms down, lumbar spine on the roller. Raise your head and your upper torso, and then inhale, glide forward and up. And exhale, roll down. Take the fingertips to the floor where needed, like training wheels again. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Keeping the lumbar spine on the roller. Exhale your fingers to the floor, curl your head up, reach forward, rise up with the inhale. And last time we're going to go down and we're going to stay down. So place your fingertips when you need them. Roll down, and this time turn the palms face up so the back of your hands are going to rest on the floor. And then curl the lumbar spine in and down towards the roller. Okay, just resting the back of the hands on the floor, not putting any extra pressure there. Curl the lower belly in and float your knees and your feet up to a kind of crunch position, a little like you're on your back doing child's pose. And let's make the knees as snug to the chest as they go, considering your hip flexibility and your spinal flexibility. And breathe in. Exhale, touch the right toes really lightly down to the floor. Inhale, raise back up, knee to chest. Exhale, touch the left toes down very lightly to the floor. Inhale, raise back up. Exhale, right toes down. Inhale, right knee to center. Exhale, left toes down. Inhale, left knee to center. Now we're going to add the arms. It'll be a cross crawl pattern. It might not be obvious to at first. So as you inhale, take the right toes down and raise the right knee up. And then exhale, return your right knee and your right arm to the starting position. Inhale, left toes down and left arm up. And exhale, bring the left knee in, open your left arm out. And repeat. So when the right toes open, we have the right arm and the left knee reaching towards each other. That's where it's the cross crawl. That's an opposite pattern. That's why we call it the cross crawl. We're crossing. And it uses both hemispheres of the brain. We're not actually crossing the midline here. So if you were to do a full cross, it's more like when children are crawling and the knees and the elbows cross each other in the crawl, in the moment of the crawl. And that cross crawl action for us in our developmental years was actually a part of how our brains were developing and while they were developing language. So even as an adult, the cross crawl pattern is something that we want to maintain. It's a part of our brain health. So exhale, curl the right knee in, right arm down, and we'll do one more time on the other side. And relax your elbows down to the floor, touch the toes down to the floor. Rest your heels on the floor as well. So bend the elbows and let the elbows actually find the floor. So we want the shoulders to get a little bit of an opening right there. Okay, let's take the right arm overhead, please. And keeping the lumbar spine down against the roller so you're pretty stable. Rotate your head to your left. You might feel the right side of the neck stretching. And it's okay if you feel like as your head goes to the left, there's a little sense that it's falling on the side of the roller. And keep the right arm straight and elongated. And then open the right arm like a snow angel while keeping your head down to the left. Notice the right shoulder, maybe even some of the nerves going down the right arm. You roll your head to center. Raise your left arm overhead. Make it a straight left arm, whatever angle it comes to keep the left arm dynamic as you relax your head down to the right. When you're relaxing the head down to the right, keep the lumbar spine stable. So there's some tone in the low belly and the mid belly. There's a dynamic reach with the left arm, but the head can be really relaxed. And make a snow angel with your left arm. And then roll your head to center. Okay, so that action now we can actually combine with the one we were just doing. So this is like intermediate cross crawl. And one thing to notice is that what we might get on one day is a snapshot of how the brain is doing, or it's a snapshot of where we are in our developmental arc on learning certain things and integrating them. So for example, now take the arms down alongside the roller and bring the left knee and the right arm up. And then turn your head to your left. Okay, so while you're in this stretch, take a deep breath into the lower belly. And then exhale and bring your right arm, your nose, and your knee back to the starting position simultaneously. And the nose has the shortest distance to travel. You have to be mindful about when you're turning your head because I want you to synchronize the actions there. Okay, let's raise the left arm and the right knee. And then roll your head to the right. We did that part in pieces because I don't want you to lose your balance. Notice your right knee, your left arm, and your head. And then exhale and bring your nose and your knee and your arm all back to center at the same moment, which means you have to track the distance that they're traveling and how they arrive simultaneously. And you won't get it every time. Let's try it again on the first side. So left knee, right arm, rotate your head to your left, breathe in. And then exhale, return. So right arm, left knee, and nose. Traveling at the same pace to arrive in the same place. Sorry, traveling different paces to arrive in the same place. Let's do the other side one more time. So right knee, left arm. Lower your head to your right. Breathe in. And then return. Right knee, left arm, and nose. Concentrate, concentrate, concentrate. Okay, let's roll up to sitting, please. You can use your hand on the floor to help you with that, of course. And then come to a simple kneeling position. Let's just check and see what's the quality of the mind now when you come to rest a moment. What does it feel like in your mind? Roller and do some rolling for the hips and legs so we get our roller technique going, and then we can add the variations where we're working on those juicy spots, right? As you guys know, we call them the juicy spots. Let me pull up a little bit more of my hair so it won't be in my face. God willing, it's not going to be in my face. Okay, so come over to your forearms, please. And stretch the legs out behind you so they're straight and they're together. Tone the lower belly so you're already in a kind of elbow version of plank pose. And then roll north to south. And in this rolling, take notice of the sensations, of course, front to back, north to south, we call it. Knees to hips, hips to knees. And be aware of the low belly supporting the lower back. And pause where you think of as center and place your right hand where your right elbow has been. Rotate to your left outer thigh and staying on your left forearm, we're going to roll. Again, we're rolling north to south. The direction is head to toe, so that's north to south, but you are on the outside edge of your thigh. Let's roll slightly back behind the center line of the thigh. So you might feel where the IT band meets the hamstring. And then roll slightly forward of the IT band where it meets the quadricep. And I'm not saying that those won't be painful. Just because I'm naming them doesn't mean that they're neutral. Let's do the other side. So roll your legs to center, place the right forearm on the floor, left hand where your left elbow was, and roll north to south. And as you roll through here, north to south, go a little bit behind your IT band to touch the quadriceps. I'm sorry, the hamstrings. Roll slightly forward of the IT band. You're going to get that spot where the IT band and the quadriceps come together. And then roll back to center. And here you can see why some of that core strength we were doing on our backs makes a difference when we roll here north to south. Okay, let's touch the feet, the shins, the knees down, and return to kneeling. And notice again the quality of the mind. In yoga practice, some of the core poses that we may not realize we have either minor or major weaknesses or imbalances in, we probably pass through those poses, dozens of times, sometimes in one practice, or several times a week at least. And if it's not aligned, then we have like this slow wear and tear on the body. Multiple small infractions of that can add up. So one of those poses is plank pose. So what I'm going to ask us to do is to do this plank pose with the roller and then with the physioball, and then see what are we waking up in the body? What do we get to know? So if we start with plank pose with our shins on the roller and you're near to your knees, it's a little bit like being in table pose, but the knees are elevated. Okay, so just broadening the back of the waist here and lift the base of your skull. This is the beginning of plank pose. And then walk the roller down. So your knees are now slightly behind where they started. And then walk the knees and the roller a little further out. Now your knees are about halfway back to plank pose. Notice how you're sustaining or maintaining the lower back from the front inner belly to the back waist. And also the broadness of the shoulder blades and the lift at the base of the skull. Curl your toes onto the floor and pick up your shins off the roller. And there you are in plank pose. Touch the shins back down to the roller, pick up the toes. Now walk the hands with straight elbows backwards until you come to your knees and you can come into what we call the toe balance pose, which is where you're on the toes, the knees are forward, and in yoga, the toe balance pose does not use the foam roller. So you pick up the knees and balance. This uses the feet, of course, but also the pelvic floor, the inner belly. The same muscles for plank pose across the front abdomen keep you from hyperextending your lower back in this position. And then touch your knees to the roller. And let's rise up to stand, and we'll set the roller aside. So what we're going to do now is take the physioball and take a look at the same practice. So I have my shorter physioball here now. I gave my taller ball to a tall friend. He needed a physioball in his life. Okay, so to walk out now to plank pose in this, we're actually going to start with a kind of child's pose, table pose combo on the physioball. So to do that, you're going to place your abdomen on the roller. Watch me for a moment here. When I walk out, there's a moment here where it's like plank pose held up by the physioball, right? So that's, I would say, the more easeful version of plank pose. But then we're going to walk the hands forward until we have the shins are on the ball and the ball comes close in. So you're kind of doing child's pose with your feet and shins on the ball. And this is going to become plank pose. We roll it out and we can also roll it in. So let's try this together several times. When you come to your plank pose, you will want to be lifting the base of the skull, broaden the back of the waist. When you come to this kind of child's pose moment, it's okay for the head to come slightly down. Your back is actually rounding on purpose. So inhale, roll it out to plank. And exhale, squeeze the ball in. Gaze towards your knees, perhaps. Inhale, roll it out to plank. Gaze down between your thumbs. Exhale, squeeze that in. Inhale, roll out. And one more time, exhale, squeeze that in. And then as you roll the ball out, walk your hands backwards until you have your abdomen on the ball again. You can take the knees apart. In fact, you can take the knees wide and put the bent knees, and then the toes can touch behind you. And rock a little bit front to back. Just kind of rocking out muscles that you were using. Okay, and then come down onto your knees and we'll release the ball from its duty for plank pose. So that experience in plank pose is like a building block. The farther the ball would be, like under the toes only, you'd have the most work in your plank pose. So a couple weeks ago, we were looking at this. How do you get from table up to plank? So we can go to it from the ball. We can also go to it from the floor up to the ball. So what I'd like you to do now is take the ball with your right shin and hold it there. So my foot is also helping to hold the ball. And put the left leg into table pose. And breathing in, we're going to exhale. Stretch the right leg out behind you so it's straight. It's kind of like there's your plank pose if you were levitating with your feet. Now press the right foot down and pick up the left knee. Bring it up towards your elbows. And then slide the left shin back to the floor and slide the right knee back down to the floor as well. Hold the ball with your left leg. You see some foot dexterity. Okay, we're in table pose. Inhale, slide the ball backwards with your left leg. Squeeze the left leg muscles. Go ahead and use them since you have them. And then exhale, slide your right knee forward towards your right elbow. And then place the right shin back down and place the left shin back down. Let's switch it to the right foot again. Okay, and inhale, straighten the right leg. We'll do this one more time. It's a long lever, right? Between your foot and your shoulders is a long lever. So press the right foot down, stabilize, and bring the left knee forward. And then place the left shin back to table. Bring the right knee down, switch sides. So the right shin can go down to the floor. Find your long lever with the left leg. And then exhale, press the left leg down and slide the right knee forward. Slide your right shin back to the floor. Set the ball aside and reach back towards child pose. So take the hips to the heels, walk the arms forward, stretch out your hands and your wrists, and relax your mind. And please walk your hands back towards your knees and rise up to kneeling. And we'll take our friend the ball, put the palms together so your wrists are going to be straight like this. And we're going to slide this out and come into a stretch for the upper back and the shoulders. Ideally, you're not letting the lower back hammock down towards the floor, so the lower belly maintains a bit of tone. You stretch the ball a little more forward. You might find that after a few breath cycles, you can lengthen the arms more comfortably a little bit further. And then please roll the ball back towards you. Pause and check and see what now does your mind feel like if you let it settle back into a kind of meditative state. We're going to now take a little change for the spine. In plank pose and the other work we were doing, we're primarily biasing spinal flexion in the lumbar spine, a little bit of extension in the thoracic spine. But we might think of that as like the neutral column of the spine. We're going to do a little bit of work with back bending right now, using the ball to support us. It might be helpful to have yourself rolling towards a piece of furniture like the bed, the piano, a bookshelf, a chair, the sofa, something that you could touch and it has some firmness to it. It's not an unstable object. So we're going to start like this, so that you can place your upper back and your head on the ball. Walk your feet out so that at first you have your shins vertical and your thighs are more or less horizontal to the floor. We do want the head to be supported here. So place yourself on the ball, whatever size your ball is, and your flexibility. Place yourself so your head is supported by the ball. Reach your arms overhead. And then begin to roll over the ball a little bit backwards. Just checking it out, looking for your balance. You may be somebody who could move the legs towards straight. That might not be in your ballpark right now. And then bend the knees and bring yourself back to this kind of reverse table pose where your shins are vertical to your heels. Keep the hips lifted and roll backwards again. And you know you have a stable piece of furniture there if you'd like to touch your fingers to it. And then roll again, that the knees are going to bend. Your hips will come up off the ball and the head and the upper back are supported. And again, inhale, roll backwards. Touch the furniture. And exhale, roll towards your knees. Let's do that twice more. And you are trying to be very thoughtful here. We're not intending to overextend the lower back, but you might be feeling the stomach stretch, or you could be feeling the hip flexors stretch as well. And once more, rolling over. Use the furniture that's there for support as needed. And then let's make a snow angel of the arms and roll back to the place where your hips are lifted from the ball, the shins are vertical, and you can press the upper arms down against the ball, like you're hugging the ball backwards. Notice the strength needed at the back of your hips and pelvis and your hamstrings, even in the upper back. To squeeze the ball backwards requires some upper back strength. And of course, chest flexibility. Now we're going to lift the head, lift the arms, look forward. Inhale like a snow angel. Open the arms, lay your upper back and head on the ball. And exhale, curl the chin in, look forward, raise up, reach forward like you're in the toboggan in the Olympics. And then inhale again, open. And exhale, lift the chin, curl in, look forward, raise the torso. Again, please. Follow your breath cycle. One more time. Now, keeping your gaze forward and your head lifted, walk the feet back towards the ball and press yourself up to sitting on your ball. Coming up to sit. And let's check and see what your meditation feels like here. We cannot discount that you're not just moving muscles and bones and breath in that experience, you're affecting things like the vagus nerve, this craniosacral fluid, cerebral spinal function, your brain orientation. So notice what your meditative mind is like right now. Let's explore one of our building blocks that we started our series with. Are you able to balance sitting on the ball? The one way that you can check that kind of thing is that you roll slightly back behind the center of the ball, and we don't pick up the knees, but we do lift the toes and feet off the floor. And we're pretty still. The ball wouldn't be wobbling too badly. Now, of course, sometimes people have to work on this a little bit at a time. So you might do some tap dancing, like the toes, or you could take the arms out for balance. But eventually we want to have it be that you could actually move the arms. They would not even be symmetrical movements. You would be comfortable moving the ball. You have a sense of where your balance is there. And that comes in time. That's sort of an agility that's based on intrinsic core stabilization. And that's what we're working on in class. So if this isn't immediately available to you, if it's not something that you can do right now, of course, no worries at all. It also makes a difference, like the longevity of your practice and the length of your legs and the size of the ball will also be a dynamic to consider. I don't have a very long reach from my hips to my heels. Touch the feet down, please. Bring your feet into hip distance. And cross your right ankle onto your left knee. This is a big hip stretch for me, maybe for you also. As you come to it, first find your balance. And if what you need to do is be near to that piece of furniture again, you could do that. Good to have support. And then we're just going to be playing here with rocking a little bit front to back. It's kind of like being in a hammock while stretching your hip. Find the place where you feel like the stretch is the most flavorful. And let's pause right there. Bring the breath down into your right hip socket, right outer hip, perhaps wherever you sense that to be. And place your right foot back on the floor. Cross the left ankle over the right knee. Again, find your stable spot. And see if you can have the adventure of rocking front to back. And you're rolling front to back. It means you have a certain amount of agility and stability and some confidence. Also means you could be in the door frame, rolling front to back, holding on to the door frame a little bit. And then, like, look, Ma, no hands. I'm not touching the door frame. You can play with it. And find a place that, as I said before, feels the most flavorful. Doesn't have to be the spiciest. It should be the most flavorful. Let's place the left foot back down on the floor as well. And notice the quality of the mind when you take the seat once more. Please come down to the floor with your physioball under your feet. So this is another kind of building block practice that I like to make sure we don't miss it during our class, because it's so essential and because so many people have sitting jobs and the glutes and hamstrings aren't getting strengthened by that sitting position. So we're going to place the heels on the high point of the ball. The arms are relaxed. You're not using them to support the lift. You're not even using the arms to stabilize the body. The arms are relaxed. So when you're going up and down here, let's think of raising the tailbone and then the sacrum and then the beads of the necklace of the vertebrae going up. And then when you place it down, you're also going down in reverse. And so we'll inhale to raise up, lengthen the tailbone, squeeze the glutes and hamstrings. Exhale, roll down. Keep some tone in the body, so you can just inhale, go back up. And exhale, roll down. And you can think of it as vertebrae by vertebrae, but without the chin pulling up towards the ceiling, nor do you have to cement the chin to the throat. Just keep the neck and head stable and neutral. You can add the consideration of whether or not the toes point up or if they toe out. If you'd like to toe out at the top of your lift, you'll be engaging the exterior rotators here, the external rotators, excuse me. They're called the deep six, if you're talking about them in a casual way. If you want to say them in Latin, you're thinking of your piriformis, gluteus, gemelli, superior gemelli, inferior obturator, internus and externus, and quadratus femoris, which is why we say the deep six muscles, because it's easier. So you could consider rolling up, the toes are pointing towards the ceiling. At the top of your roll up, toe out like a ballerina. Let's do that 3 times more, please. So rolling up smoothly. Rolling down smoothly. And you can decide to add the toeing out. I sometimes call that the Fonzie, because I watched Fonzie as a child, and the thumbs out like that. So that's an option too. Okay, we'll do one more time. And then roll down. Okay, let's go ahead and just give the ball a little nudge to go to the side. Maybe it'll stay put where you put it. Open the arms in a T shape, and let's take the knees down to one side and the other side, like windshield wipers. As you go side to side, you can think of the windshield wiper stays attached to the car and it's the blade that's moving, right? So keep your feet attached to the floor, even though they're tipping on the floor. And you are raising the opposite hip as you cross over. Turn your head opposite of your knees. Roll back to center, please. And using whatever support you would like to use for Shavasana, please make yourself comfortable, or just do the rustic Shavasana. This is called the rustic Shavasana because we have no props here. You're welcome to close your eyes. And know again that you've dedicated this time to be really nurturing to your body. You're strengthening, you're moving the myofascial system, the musculo-skeletal system. You're kind of giving yourself an update. This is an infusion, a nutritive infusion, and the opposite activities were also not occurring. So it's like a double gain. We took ourselves away from, let's say, the screen or the desk or the future planning or the working environment to have this time out. So really give yourself to the Shavasana, to being here right now. Allow your entire body to rest and to receive. Relaxing any and all unnecessary tension. Encourage not only your body to relax, but also your mind can be at ease. Mental tension creates physical tension. So deeply relax your mind. Notice your body getting heavier, more limp, more at ease. Invite the activities of the mind to also become more limp, more quiet, more grounded. Deeply relax your mind and your body. You might notice not only the limpness or the heaviness, but a quality in addition to that, energy or effervescence. Continue to deeply relax and only witness or observe what is happening. Don't intrude, no need to narrate, no need to comment on. Gently roll your head side to side. Return to center. Roll the fingers and toes a little bit. Give a wiggle there and then bend one knee at a time. Roll to your side. And return to your seat, which could be kneeling on the roller, could be kneeling just on the floor, could be taking a seat as you do for meditation. Notice what's happening when you return to your seat. What is the nature of the mind? Raise your hands to your heart, giving appreciation to yourself for the time you've dedicated. This infusion, this nutritive infusion for your body, your mind, your life. Thank you very much. Namaste. Close our recording time so we can be together.